Breaking news coming in, heavy firing resumes in Samba sector. Pakistan using heavy mortar shells to target Indian posts. 30 BSF posts targeted in Kathua, Samba sector till 6:30 a.m. Joining me on the phone line is Headlines Today, Shuja ul Haq. Shuja, we just reported at the top of the bulletin that there was no firing since 6:30 in the morning, but apparently firing has been resumed at the international border.
Well, that's right, Amita. The firing is just resumed on the international border, and this has happened in the same sector, Samba, Kathua sector. We've been told at least 3 or 4 border outposts are still involved in, receiving gunfire and are responding to the equal caliber. Remember, we've been reporting that all throughout the night till 6:30 a.m. Heavy outposts and was also equally responded by the BSF on the international border. This only goes on to add to the entire, escalation of tension between the two sides on the international border. For the past few days, continuous fighting has been reported in these areas, and last night, it was taken a step further by the fact that it was being reported from adjoining areas like Kathua, apart from Samba. So clearly, the tension and the aggression seems to be only mounting on in these areas of the international border, at least in Jammu division.
Shuja, tell us the details of the areas where most of the firing and shelling is taking place at the Samba sector.
Well, this is basically the international border and falls in the Jammu division. Most of it has been happening in Samba sector, and last night it was extended towards Hiranagar and Kathua area. In total, around 30 or more of them border posts were involved in this very heavy gunfire that was being responded with equal measures and equal caliber. We've been told by our sources that the use of heavy gunfire like mortars, apart from the use of small arms, is continuously being seen in these areas. Remember, Amita, we were yesterday also on the ground zero, and we were talking to the villagers who were living along these along the borders of this international line, and most of these people are terrified. Yesterday also we looked at many villages where people have already started evacuating their houses. So now that this is going on even now and has been going throughout the night, we can only expect that the tension will only prevail in these regions, with most of these villages once again falling into the zero line.
Shuja, are the Pakistani Rangers targeting the civilian villages, the civilian side of the international border?
Well, some of these villages fall directly in the line of fire. In places like Samba, where there are villages like Real, which is the first village where the gunfire was reported 2 days back, and in the first incident, one BSF Jawan had lost his life. Yesterday we were traveling through this village, and I can tell you that it falls directly in the line of fire, and we saw evidence of how the houses in these villages are in direct target of Pakistani Rangers and their border outposts. So clearly, yes, there is always this worry and threat that in the cross-border shelling and ceasefire violations, the civilian areas are also engulfed, and the proof of that is visible in front of us. Many of late civilians have also been injured, and damage to the property has also been incurred.
Right, Shuja, thank you very much for joining us. There's been an update of the Samba firing, that the heavy fire has resumed in the Samba sector in Jammu. Heavy mortar shells are coming from the Pakistani side.